It's time for the Steve and Kyle podcast with Kyle.
Like, you see that video on your phone, and you can see where I am compared to the ring, right? So it doesn't look as bad or as far away as the photo. Okay.
No, you're right. In video, it looks much better. Would you do it again?
You know, a lot of people say you don't want to ruin, that one great experience by doing it again.
Yeah, I mean, once you win the Super Bowl, why do you need to try for it again?
Nobody wants a back-to-back.
No.
And Steve.
The Royal Rumble was a great experience.
And?
It was great to be at the Royal Rumble.
And?
Yeah, I don't need to go again.
Now, here they are, two guys who are living in style, Steve and Kyle.
Play that idiot machine.
Whew. Let me ask you something about that a second, Steve.
Yeah.
When you get further removed from a stressful, not even stressful, I shouldn't say that, a large, like an event. Maybe it's an event you went to, maybe it's a large life event.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, that event you're looking at as, hey, it was a good thing. Like your wedding, your all these things, right?
Positive memories.
Do you look back on it more fondly? Or does it about stay the same for you?
I think more, because you forget all the stress that went into it. It was funny. I had a somewhat similar conversation with a coworker recently. Earlier in the week, he was telling me about how him and his fiance are planning their wedding for later on in the year. And immediately I was taken back to like the stress that came with that, coordinating that the people are going to drop off the linens at the right time and that they have the information that they need from the caterer, because for some reason linen people and caterers can't combine forces and do the same thing.
But then the florist is mad because the linen person is running a half hour behind schedule.
Right.
And now the daisies
right.
don't have a place to go
right.
next to the baby's breath.
Yeah, because they don't match the doilies that the linen people are bringing.
God.
I don't miss that at all. And I remember I'm sitting there talking to him and I was like, ooh, boy. I was like, your wedding, it sounds like it's going to be great, because they're having it at an amazing venue, and just some of the things he was telling me about, I was like, boy, that sounds like it's going to be amazing. But I don't envy you at all. No. And when this is all over, you're gonna come up to me and be like, yeah, I don't miss planning a wedding, not one bit.
I think I've gotten a little bit of that way already, just 2 weeks removed from me at like the big Royal Rumble.
Yeah. Because
I don't do well in very large crowds, and this was the largest crowd outside of a WrestleMania in WWE history. 65,000 people.
It's a lot.
In general, as I'm getting older, I don't like those setups very well. And then mixed with just the travel to get there and not really knowing much about the town. And then like we described, the up-down, you don't exactly know where your seats are. It's expensive. There's a lot of stuff swirling in a brain, especially a brain like mine that is probably, does a little too much. But now that I'm 2 weeks out, I'm kind of thinking of going to WrestleMania.
Now, where's WrestleMania this year?
Now, it wouldn't be this year. This year it is in Las Vegas. And
that's your town, though. You've been holding off. You've been holding out on a Las Vegas story for the last 8 years on this podcast.
But I think we talked about it on this podcast when I came home from Las Vegas this April.
You didn't have a good time. You did not have.
Not that I didn't have a good time. It was a Vegas trip with a group of friends that will probably never be together in like the same place again. So in that regard, I enjoyed it. Yeah. I came back and my sentiment was, I think I'm over Las Vegas.
That's right.
Because I'm in a day and age now, I can gamble here.
Yeah.
I can gamble on my couch. I can gamble closer to the house. And it was so crowded and so overly expensive that a recreational gambler like me out there who wanted to simply have a good time and not spend $25 per hand of blackjack.
Yeah.
It wasn't feasible.
Will nobody think about the recreational gambler?
We're the forgotten class. Okay? You know, and we were the first one. When you think about it, we were the first ones to go when they started getting rid of DEI everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
We were not included any longer.
Yeah, the casual gambler. The casual white suburban gambler.
Yeah. Listen, I'm from the Midwest. And if there's a more persecuted class in this country, I'd love to find one. So it's a town that is simply, I think it's moved past my comfort level for how much it costs.
Don't mind me. I just have to get my computer charger, which Nikki set outside of the
Oh,
door.
that was nice of him.
Yeah,
I appreciate that
I was
you
kinda
have.
hoping he'd bring it in, but
I appreciate that you have little worker bees who's you could hear the feet pitter patter. And we have
here it is.
for so long. I'm not going to interrupt what we're talking about, but for so long we have neglected to talk about the evolution of me entering this house.
I know.
Because it is night and day. A year ago, probably you would say it would be night and day.
Easily. I mean, it's gone through phases though, because there was a phase when it was just Evelyn, she wanted nothing to do with you. She would hide under her blanket or just hold up her hands in front of her face
And be silent.
and hide.
And to be fair, to a kid, that's totally okay.
Yeah, totally.
I don't like look at that reaction and say, what's wrong with that kid?
Oh, I am. I'm extremely insulted every time.
My thought is, well, that makes sense. This is a still somewhat different person entering her house.
Yeah,
and
you're coming into her world.
Yeah, and at that point, you know, kid can barely talk. You know, so it's not like you can explain to a kid. No, I'm your dad's friend. You know, that's
See, we record a podcast every week. Like really go in depth on it.
Steve, she doesn't understand. Can you sit her down and explain to her what it is we do?
And then Dada takes that MP3 file.
So we have to convert it.
Saves it at 41 megahertz or whatever.
So we need to talk about that. We have plenty of different things that we have to bring back over the next few weeks. I've been looking every week I come in. I've been looking for the Beard Father. Haven't seen him.
Yeah, he's been scarce as of late.
Have not seen
We haven't seen him in probably a year and a half.
Boy, it's been a while.
It's been a long time.
But we digress. I came home from Vegas with a sentiment that I don't know if I'll go back. I've always had kind of a maybe you can provide some insight into this. I've always had a lingering idealization of Atlantic City. And that's about the reaction I've gotten from most people who have been there.
Yeah.
So I want to confirm, is it still is it an interesting town or strip to visit and see, or is it more of like you just gave the exhale?
I think you'd enjoy it. I think that I mean, obviously it's not going to be nearly as expensive as Vegas.
Right.
You get to see some of the depressing parts of it. But I mean, that's granted, never been to Vegas, but I know that like the old Vegas people will say like, it's kind of sad to go through there when you see all the
Sure.
you know, like circus or whatever, the old places. I think that you would enjoy it. I think you'd have a good time. It would be an affordable trip.
Okay. Well, yeah. 'Cause, I mean, I'm assuming you'd go right into Newark or maybe even Philly.
Yeah, I mean, if you can, you could fly right into Atlantic City.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's
So they'd have to like
small
go
airport there.
They'd have to go like scrape the gravel and dead animals off of the strip for the plane coming in.
They used to have I think it was a direct flight, Grand Rapids to Atlantic City. I mean, this is years ago.
Really?
Yeah, years ago.
I would be curious because Brother Mike would more align with the sentiment of what I look at as Atlantic City.
Oh, he'd pick you up at the airport.
Okay.
If you flew into Philly, my brother would swoop in, pick you up, and you guys would be in AC in an hour and a half.
And I feel like I would
Right down the expressway.
I get picked up by Brother Mike, you know, fresh stogie hanging out of the side of his mouth, telling me the virtues of the different casinos in Atlantic City. Whereas, I mean, I understand because if you're not a gambler, those type of towns are incredibly limited in their appeal.
Yeah.
So for you, who lived in Jersey as well, right? So you probably at least saw or went through or by Atlantic City a handful of times. I could see why you would look at it and go, like it's just not for you.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was never, because I've never been a big gambler.
Yeah.
For me, Atlantic City was kind of the de facto bachelor party spot.
Sure. Close
And,
enough to get to.
Yeah, and what you're describing is nearly my exact experience with my brother's bachelor party, which would have been 2008. I think they got married. 2008. So 16, 17 years ago, I flew back for my brother's bachelor party.
Yeah.
Flew into Philly, and somehow ended up like somebody picked me up at a train station. I just remember it being like, remember the movie Old School, where like the van comes screeching to a halt, the door swings open, a bunch of guys throw someone into a van. That was basically my experience. My brother's friends, and I think my brother was in the car, picked me up at a train station somewhere. I don't remember when.
So this is all blur to you at this point.
Basically threw me in the van.
Yeah.
And I still remember my brother's friend Brent saying, "Here you go, man. Have a road soda." Tossing me a beer. And then we were off to the racetrack as everybody in the car is drinking openly.
Man.
And then so we went to the racetrack, the horse track in Philly.
Mm-hmm.
Watched a bunch of races. I drank way too much in way too short of a period of time.
Sure.
I said, "Hey, yeah, guys, I got to run to the bathroom." Barfed all over the place.
So you got to the bathroom, your brother's bachelor party, ripped the shirt off.
I think this was before I had
Pre-innovation?
learned. This is pre-shirt off while barfing innovation.
Yeah, boy, young doe-eyed Steve didn't even think to take his shirt off.
But I still remember what I was wearing.
Yeah.
I was wearing a pair of brown corduroys. And there was quite a bit of splashback, and it basically coated me. And this was the first stop of the day. So we were going from there, the racetrack, to a bar somewhere. I don't remember. It was in like South Philly or something.
Sure.
And we walk in, and it was a place. It was like, oh, we got to stop by so and so. We got to stop by this bar because so and so is working tonight. Like it was a friend of a friend. Somebody knew somebody. There was some kind of connection. So we walk in there, and I think there was probably 8 of us. 8 car bombs, Irish car bombs. So the 3/4 of a pint of Guinness, and then a shot of like Bailey's or something.
Yeah, I think it's some Irish cream, right?
Yeah, Bailey's Irish cream
Yes.
the shot glass dropped in, so it immediately curdles. Click, 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 down the hatch. Man, did that.
Just give me a shiver, like just remembering.
And I'm pretty sure it was Brent again. Another round. Well, we were in that place for maybe 15 minutes. I did 3 Irish car bombs.
Oh God.
And then it was down to Atlantic City. And I remember that being the worst ride of my life.
I bet, yeah. Riding
terrible.
in a car with 7 other dudes.
Oh, it was so bad.
Trying not to have your second vomiting of the early day.
Now that I think, I may be actually combining my brother's bachelor party and Bob's bachelor party. There were a couple of rough bachelor parties.
But to tie a bow on it, to go back to the start, how do you look back on that bachelor party now?
I mean,
like overall, if you had to give it, I don't even want to say grade it, but if you had to say plus or minus, how would you overall look at that bachelor party?
Positively.
Absence and time, man, makes the heart grow fonder.
Oh, man, it sounds like you're going to WrestleMania. So when are you go? What WrestleMania are you going to?
The rumbling. So they haven't announced anything for multiple years. So next year it's going to be New Orleans. New Orleans is on my bucket list of towns I want to visit.
Okay.
The Voodoo, the Gators.
Oh, the spookiness.
I desperately want to go to New Orleans, but I don't want to wrap it around a wrestling show. Mostly because I want to go with my wife, who I don't think would care to have it wrapped around a wrestling show.
Probably not.
And especially when most of the town there is going to be in for the same wrestling show. And I don't know what you think about wrestling fans.
Oh, the worst. The absolute dregs of society.
Because you're correct.
No offense.
Absolutely none taken. Because obviously I am in the upper echelon.
Right. Yeah. So in the hierarchy of wrestling fans, you are the king.
King of wrestling fans, baby. King of the smelly buttholes.
I love that you embrace it. I love that you
Well, like there's no real way around it, right? Right. Wrestling fans have this
Stigma,
yes, and it's
stench.
and it's not because of incorrect assumptions.
Right.
Like if you go to a wrestling show, and now the big ones are less so because the big ones are much more commercial, right? So the Royal Rumble I was at, we talked to a couple people in line talked to some folks, chatted up. I didn't even tell you about Vacation Kyle coming out to play at the Royal Rumble.
Vacation Kyle. I love Vacation Kyle.
Vacation Kyle barely made it to the first bar before he was out to play.
Vacay Kyle.
Okay, talked to a couple of Englanders.
Whoa!
Talked to him about
like
Wrexham
new
and soccer.
Englanders or the motherland.
Yeah, and chatted him up for about an hour, and but this event is much more commercial, much more public appeal. So to the point where we talk to these people in line, and they're like, Raw just came on Netflix, so I saw it and I thought, hey, Indianapolis is close enough. We should go to that.
Yeah.
And the dude is from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Oh, okay.
So just an interesting, just a neat way. So these shows are much different than the dark lights in 1,000-seat oversized ballroom,
right?
Where there's grown men with their gigantic belts everywhere, begging to touch a wrestler.
Yes.
Male and female. Don't mean it sexually.
No.
Just mean they want to be close to the aura of a greased up, wet-haired adult. And I'm not talking about themselves or their family.
No.
I'm talking about the wrestlers in the ring.
Right, yeah.
So it is a bit different. But yes, that stigma is accurate. And I would say that I am in the upper echelon, the king tier of those goofballs.
How do you think the rest of them would feel about that? Do you think they'd agree? Do they look to you as their king? Do they look at you and say, wow, that looks like a guy who's got his stuff to... He has a wife and a child and a job that he goes to 40 hours a week?
Yeah, to be fair, I don't know if I could get enough clicks and grunts to let them know the class status.
Were you once one of them?
No, I've always used deodorant. I've always considered myself
a deodorant user.
I've identified as a deodorant user since a young age.
Maybe put that on the poll. Have you identified as a deodorant user
since a young age? And there's you get it. You run into people, whether it be in public, whether it be not so much your job anymore. Like you're not having people run through the studio and stuff. But you go to shows, you're doing live events, and there is just people who look at the way they take care of their body. I'm not talking physique. I'm talking just natural soap.
Yeah, sure.
As secondary.
I mean, yeah, and that's life. That you're going to find that no matter what you do.
So mix that with someone wearing one of the gaudiest, dumbest T-shirts you could imagine, with like a woman wearing a wrestling outfit, and it has like sparkly diamonds on it.
Or they have like his name is John Cena tattoo on their cheek.
Yelling at a ring 300 yards away because the bad guy just did something to the good guy that the bad guy shouldn't have done. And yes, you fit into that stigma of the grunt clicker with bad body odor.
I am so excited to hear that you have decided. It's only been a couple of weeks, but you have already decided that it's back on. So are we looking 2026?
So 2026 is the New Orleans show. That, again, I want to save my New Orleans trip for non-wrestling related and with wife and maybe friends that I would like to go with. So 2027, the early rumblings, and they won't announce this for another year, are back in Indianapolis.
Really?
So what WWE has done now is they've started getting payments from big governments and cities.
Like a 3-year deal
and
or whatever.
we promise to bring you X amount of pay-per-views, big pay-per-views here. That's why they're getting hundreds of millions of dollars from Saudi Arabia. And all of these different towns as part of the promise to bring all this tourism. So I think when I even look back on this next year, when they announce, hey, WrestleMania's in Indianapolis 2027, when I look back on the 2025 Royal Rumble, it's even going to be higher up in terms of, I really had a good time. And I'm not even saying I had a bad time. There's no part of it.
I mean, it's absence makes the heart grow fonder. The further you are away from it, the more fondly you look back on it. Like, take me back to that bachelor party where I was barfing in a urinal at a horse track and it was going all over my brown corduroys. I was probably pretty miserable then. But now I look back on it half my lifetime later and I think, Yeah. You had peaked.
I want to put this a little bit to the test here.
Okay.
And we've already missed out on everything we need to get to today so far. But excuse me for forgetting, but what was the trip? It was relatively recently where I believe you came on this podcast afterwards and described in detail some violently ill children.
Yeah, that was summer of 2023.
Okay, so 2 years ago. Year and a half.
That was our trip to the Smokies, to Pigeon Forge in Tennessee.
So you're in the moment. You're cleaning up vomit, cleaning up pants. You're cleaning up anything that,
I can still smell what that car smelled like. And we were 15 minutes into a 12-hour trip. Poor Evelyn got pink eye because there was so much feces material floating in that car.
Can you still smell the rancid car years after
Oh, my God.
a 12-hour road trip? But I want to know, how do you look back on that today?
Not great. That one's not far enough in the rear view.
Okay, so you think that needs like at least a 3-year buffer
I think so.
before
yeah.
you can look at the pink eye rancid car of 2023 to the Smokies.
Dude, when
as a
we got
positive.
to the hotel, we had to take the car seat out of the car and put it in the shower in the hotel room to clean it
I
out.
was going to say, not to clean it, just so we could keep it there until we could burn it in the fire pit that night.
God, everything. I mean, that had the potential to be such a great trip.
Yeah.
And I would say it was a fine trip
Mm-hmm.
because I love the fact that all of the grandchildren, all of the cousins were all together and they got to play with each other and have a great time. But everybody in the house, I think, except for my brother, got sick.
Oh.
Yeah, that was not great.
Whew. Well, okay, yeah, WrestleMania 2027. I'll pen you in. Can't wait to do it. You and me taking the 4-hour car ride down there. I'm excited.
Hey, speaking of big events, there's something I want to run past you.
Okay.
Something.
Is it something you have to pull up?
Yes, it's something that it's visual, but also that I've been working on in the background.
Okay. This is not palette related.
Not palette related.
Okay.
No, we'll get to some of that at some point if people are interested. I don't know. I haven't been checking the wire.
We're going to have to get to palette talk at some point. Maybe not today, but again, this is going to have to be a recurring theme.
Now, this is something that doesn't currently involve you, but easily could involve you.
I'm in.
Wow.
So I'm trying to knock those New Year's resolutions off.
Okay. Got it. So we've talked about it before.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just got to rip the Band-Aid off.
Okay.
If you look up to your left at the Tron.
Okay. So what I have
I'd like you to see the AI-generated image for something big that's going to happen this summer.
Huh. Well, Should I just describe what I'm looking at?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. This is a beautiful, happy scene filled with joy. And it's something that I could not fathom wanting to be a part of less.
The dream is becoming a reality. I've been talking about this for how many years? We've been in this house 7.5 years. So I would say 7.5 years minus 1 day is how long I've been talking about this.
Yeah. When did you move in?
We moved in September or October of 2017.
I would bet. We'll try to pull it for this week's Flashback Friday. Because I would bet December of 2017.
Yeah.
There was an episode or a long-form discussion of your, I'll say it, insane desire to do something like this.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that after 7 long years, Steve's movie night is coming to fruition?
Steve's cul-de-sac / block party is coming to fruition this summer.
What I'm
This
looking at,
summer, there's a group text. There's a Facebook event that's been created, but not sent out yet. Still a private event. Still tweaking it a little bit.
can I get in on that? Just an observer. No
Okay,
contributions.
okay.
I just want to watch and see all you lamos talk to each other about the big grill out.
I mean, you see the logo here with this child holding a Frisbee that has an anarchy symbol on it for some reason.
That's either anarchy. You know what that looks like to me? The Blair Witch.
This poor child, I don't know what happened to her.
Oh, yeah. So she does have two hands.
Kind of.
Not a lot of fingers.
And legs nowhere to be seen.
And I got to tell, those eyes scream fetal alcohol syndrome.
Yeah.
So
now, all these kids over here look pretty normal. This guy, I'm assuming that's me, looks pretty normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, this, I finally had the nerve to text the
Where's
other
the water coming from?
Oh, from the sprinkler, obviously.
And this, by the way, me making light of this is not an indictment on you whatsoever.
No,
we
this
joke
is the AI.
We joke about in private the limitations of AI.
Yeah,
all
and
the time.
It's always. It seems like it's always hands.
It's always it's very hand heavy on what AI can't figure out. So again, the two things you need to calm yourself if you're concerned about AI: one, Steve's favorite solution, unplug it.
Yeah.
Number two, they can't even make hands.
Look at the hands.
Look at that other kid holding a Frisbee. What's wrong with? Why is he doing Spock fingers?
And why is his Frisbee a football shape?
It is.
That's
yes.
not going to fly.
You know what that is? That's a dumb kid.
Okay, so now I had talked to neighbor Justin before about this, and we've always kind of, it'd be great. We got to have a little block party. We got to barbecue or something. Invite everybody. So the opportunity presented itself to bring this up to the masses, and by masses I mean one other neighbor.
So you and Justin saw this poor idiot outside, or
No.
Okay, no. You didn't have to go that far.
Pulled into the Zach the other day.
Yeah.
And Dustin on the corner.
Wait, Dustin and Justin.
Dustin and Justin. Yeah. Little confusing. I know. Try and keep up. You'll be all right.
This is like out of Desperate Housewives.
So Dustin is one of the two that I had convinced before the holidays to get the Gobi lights. So I pull in. Dustin's got his set to pink and purple and red and white.
All for Valentine's.
For Valentine's Day.
Beautiful.
And I thought, man, that looks good. Go a little bit further. Justin's got his set too. I've been slacking on the Govies for the last month.
I asked you last week to maybe give a little Valentine's show when I left here, and
I completely slacked on Super Bowl. I was going to have.
Why didn't you have Philly Green?
I just didn't do it. So that was the push I needed. I went into the house. I immediately opened up my app. I found the Valentine's Day display, turned it on, and suddenly half the cul-de-sac was illuminated in love. I sent a group text to Justin and Dustin saying, look at us.
Now, did you already have a group text with Justin, Dustin, and Steve?
This was new.
JDS?
This was brand new.
DJs.
Oh, DJs. That's good. So I sent that. I said, look at us. Most festive cul-de-sac in the neighborhood. Way to go, guys. We did it. And then we all patted each other on the back for a couple of messages back and forth. And then I did it. I said,
"No, you did not. You didn't. You ripped the Band-Aid
I
off.
ripped the Band-Aid off. I'm going to see if I can actually.
You're a busy man. Okay?
I am a
because you're knee deep in palate.
Mm-hmm.
You are, I mean, single digit weeks away from having to dive headfirst into siding 2025.
Oh boy, yeah.
Okay, you still got the shop, the warehouse out there that you're doing stuff in.
Pushing things from one wall to the other.
There's something about an axle or a transmission or an engine. Last I heard, tuned the last half of those sentences out.
Yeah.
So excuse me for forgetting the parts.
Mm-hmm.
And you've decided, rip the Band-Aid off to me how you did it in the JDS. Because I wonder if JD have a side chat with like, oh God, I knew it was coming.
But S is left out.
But so the JD chat is
maybe put it on the poll. Is there a JD chat where S is left out?
Or it's just finger cross emojis. that they're hoping S won't bring this up again.
All right, so I said in the text, I have the text right here. I've definitely been slacking since Christmas. I had planned to do an Eagles-themed setup for the Super Bowl, but just never got around to it. So then Jay said, we can coordinate our lights with holidays and then our cul-de-sac parties. So he
It's not even on you.
He creaked the door open a bit.
And you booted it down like
and
the
then I
Kool-Aid
just
man.
kicked it down when I said I'd love to plan a summer party. Grilling, drinks, fire pits, games, maybe a movie projected on a garage door. D jumped in. He said, let's do this. I've got a projector and blow-up screen we can set up anywhere. And from that point, it was on.
So in terms of what you need to add, man, you're already reducing what you need.
Exactly. We still need the hay bales, which we had talked about years ago. Remember, kids have to sit on hay bales.
June or July hay bales might be a bit hard to find.
That's all right. I'll find them.
Outside of the, the hay markets or the farms that you'll have to go to.
But I got responses such as 100% in. Let's do this. I'm all for it. However we can help, let us know. It's happening, man.
Okay, hang on. Can you repeat that very last thing you said?
Let's do this. I'm all for it. However we can help, let us know. Can stay in touch to make it happen.
However we can help, let us know.
Do you think that he's...
Screams. Can't wait for Steve to do all this and us walk out the front door. So they're agreeing to the event.
Yeah, he did say, I agree, looking forward to it.
Oh, no. Steve, you've just taken on a block party.
I'm doing this
on your own.
It's at least one of the J or the D is out.
Let's go back to this big poster because we need to slap that up around town.
Okay.
Get as many people over here as possible to pay the entry fee.
Yeah.
And so this is being currently called the festival.
Yeah. Yeah. Cul-de-sac fest.
Maybe like
Cul-de-fest?
Maybe upgrading like the neighborhood heyday,
heyday would be good. But that's more of a fall thing. That
is true.
See, I'm specifically thinking summer. I mean, maybe we can do that for our fall festival, which no doubt will follow.
Well, they have to be seasonal.
In October, late October, early November, we'll have a fall fest.
Not my thing. I'm not going to tell you when to plan it. Do you have a date for the big neighborhood fest?
No. I think it's going to be a Saturday in either June or July. That is the kind of the running timeline right now. Might sneak into August. It's all just going to depend.
I'm going to put a note in my phone for 2 months from now, 60 days. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to follow up with you on this. I'm not going to ask you about it. I'm not going to talk about it at all until then. You're more than welcome to. Mm-hmm. Because I think you're going to forget about this in a week.
I disagree. I think that within 1 to 2 weeks, we will have a date on the calendar. Facebook invitation will be sent out. Now, I have one question for you, and then we can wrap this up. Kyle, do you want me to invite you, your wife, your son to Cul-de-fest? Cul-de-stock? Oh, cul-de-stock would be good. It's like cul-de-sac, but Woodstock.
Do it in the Woodstock font?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cul-de-stock? Yeah. Cul-de-stock 2025? No. Don't put a year on it because then that means that there's...
Guarantee that's going to be 2026.
Yeah. Okay, so cul-de-stock cul-de-stock this year.
Cul-de-stock 1.
Kyle, do you want an invite for it?
Nothing I want less in the world. You know, Steve, I've talked probably too much over the years about getting older. Mm-hmm. But that's part of this podcast at this point.
That is, it's our go-to. It's our bread and butter.
We should probably update the tags and just put getting old.
Old people.
Geriatric. But I would say, you're trying to find that fountain of youth, by planning a block fest.
Yep.
That's what you call it, block fest.
Block fest. I do like cul-de-stock, though.
That is not bad. Sack fest?
Maybe Zach fest.
Love the sack?
No, that... I don't... I think people would expect a much different event
Sack Appreciation Day.
Yeah, well, I'll put that on the short list of possible names.
Here to help. What I've talked about in years past is how I've become much more okay with kind of doing things alone that I probably didn't used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of golfing alone has come across my radar quite a bit. I haven't done that one yet.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that one to me still feels a little bit odd. I don't know. Part of the enjoy of golfing with someone is
how bad you inevitably are.
Right.
And how, like, one of my fondest golfing memories is that picture that I have of you in the rough.
Oh,
with,
I think Ruff's doing some.
I mean, you were waist deep in thickets.
Yes.
And I have a series of about 8 pictures of just grass flying in every direction as you just hacked and hacked and hacked trying to hit your ball.
When you see movies or old archive footage of the Vietnam War and you see them moving through the jungle, it's about that length of weeds and grass that I was trying to wander through.
Yeah, Fortunate Son is playing in the background.
Of course. Napalm hitting off in the near pond.
Yeah.
But I am exploring the idea of doing something very different alone this week.
Ooh.
And I need to know from you if it is crazy
all right,
or if you think I should do it.
All right, so we got the basics covered. Going to a movie on your own, you have no problem with that.
Nope. I would do golf. Like if I made the time to do it, I would do golf. Yep.
What about going out to dinner, like where you actually have to sit down, order from somebody, or going to a bar?
What am I, some sad loser?
It's insulting. I've definitely done the bar thing before. I sitting down at a restaurant, like where you had to walk in and say, how many? One.
Yeah.
Would you like a seat in the romantic section?
What, like one for now, you mean? And then you say,
surely someone's coming, right?
At that point, do you just say table for 2? And then after like an hour, be like, well, I guess they're not coming.
No, I think that's even more pathetic.
I think there's, you got stood up.
Yeah, there's a certain admirable quality about the honesty of like, no, I'm here by myself.
Admirable, sad, thin line, I guess.
Yeah, so I've done the movie by myself. I haven't golfed by myself. I've never had the desire to golf that much.
Right.
Where I'd even consider that.
Yeah.
But
you've done the bar thing by yourself.
I've done the bar thing by myself, definitely.
What is the thing for you though that would push you, not push you, but that would be, no, I can't do that. I won't do that. That's too weird. Or shouldn't say weird. I don't mean weird, whatever. I don't mean to upset anybody, but too uncomfortable for you.
I mean, I wouldn't want to go on a cruise by myself.
Okay. Makes sense.
I guess if I was no, I can't even think of a scenario where that would.
Don't they have like designed singles cruises? But that wouldn't, obviously we're talking currently, but don't they have singles cruises that are meant for that?
Yeah, I'm sure that they do.
Christ, is that as sad as speed dating?
But it's weird though, because I put myself in an alternate universe where I am single, and I still, if I was to think, oh, we got a singles cruise coming up, I would still find another single friend,
Got it.
Like if, my friend Ken was single, I'd be like, hey man, do you want to go on this singles cruise? Like, even if neither of us find the love of our lives, we're at least going to have a good time because we're friends and we hang out.
Yeah. Sorry, I just posted a poll. If you're still single at almost 40 and considering a singles cruise, should you just jump overboard?
Just watch that boat go over the horizon.
Just reflect on your life as you float over those waves and watch all those unhappy old people try to finally find love.
So yeah, I'm definitely, I've gotten more and more comfortable with doing things on my own the older I've gotten, because there would have been a time where I was like, I am not going to a movie by myself. Sure. Even though you're sitting in a dark room where nobody's going to recognize you.
Exactly. So let me ask you where you land on going to a concert by yourself.
solo concert. I've done it.
Work related or by choice?
No, this was years ago.
Then I've come to the right place.
I think I did this when I was like 24, probably.
Okay.
I remember going to a concert
I'd say
solo.
it's too young to give up, but I didn't know you back then.
I was no, I remember.
I respect that.
I remember exactly what it was. It was a unique scenario because
give me all of the details
Okay.
because this is fascinating because for me this is a bridge I would have never even considered up until about a week ago.
This is a year or two after college, and I was living in New Jersey. A friend of mine was getting married in New Hampshire.
Okay.
So I was going to be driving up to New Hampshire for the weekend to go to her wedding.
Perfect.
And I was staying I think I was going to stay in Boston that night because there was an artist I really wanted to see live. And I thought, oh, cool. I can, double dip, do this on the same trip. And went to the concert by myself.
That's cool.
And
was it like a general admission or standing room only concert, or
Yeah,
did you have
yeah.
to buy a seat? Okay.
no, I mean, it was, I bought a ticket in
Right.
advance, but it was a small, like, club type atmosphere.
Okay. So it wasn't like this massive
Not
10,000 seat event. Got it.
not an arena tour or anything like that. And I remember being a little bit nervous about it, but there's no reason to. I was a couple hours from home. It's not like I knew anyone there, but
Right.
I did that. Yeah, I did it. I'm on board.
Would you do it? Let's say you hear about a big Springsteen show. It's a couple hour drive. It's a Friday night, but you can't find anything for anything for the kids, right? So you're and that's like, sorry, I can't go.
I'm gonna go. Yeah,
Are you still gonna go to a 15,000 seat arena
yeah.
and buy your one ticket to go see him? You think?
Yep, I will.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Because this week coming to town.
Got like Teletubbies or something. Bluey in concert.
It's the Winnie the Pooh on ice. Coming to town this week after a canceled show or a rescheduled show is Justin Timberlake.
JT, huh?
JT himself.
Okay.
And I am a Justin Timberlake fan.
You're a JT fan.
Love most of his albums. And this was a show that was supposed to be on a Saturday in November.
All right.
And then he had, I don't believe this is anything related to when he got the DUI last summer. This is related to, he had laryngitis or bronchitis, one of those. So he canceled a bunch of shows, rescheduled them. So we went from a Saturday in November to a Tuesday in February.
Oh, boy. The ever so popular Tuesday night concert. I'm assuming at the arena downtown.
Correct. So I went immediately to Ticketmaster and said, hey, they just switched the date. I can't make this. And they immediately refunded me everything.
Yeah.
For my 2 tickets. For me and Katie.
Okay, so Katie was originally going to go with you.
Yeah. But I would argue we're at a point now where it's I've told you about, we've talked about, we're kind of, I wouldn't say slaves to the schedule, but we appreciate the routine.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty normal.
And to upset that routine a little bit is okay.
So
that's
that
okay.
would-
Go out to dinner on a weeknight, whatever. You're out a little late on a Friday. It doesn't matter. Those things don't matter.
So I'm assuming that when it was November, you had like your parents or her parents or something.
problem.
Somebody's watching, but
Yep.
not as easy on a Tuesday.
Yeah, and it's still, you're trying to race out of the house after I'm done with work at 5 o'clock.
That's true.
And are you bringing Reed somewhere? Someone coming over? It's just a lot of headaches. So I didn't even consider. I didn't even ask Katie. I told her. I said, "Hey, I got the refund. It's not happening." But now, I'm realizing I still kind of want to see Justin Timberlake.
Of course.
I wouldn't say he's bucket list. In terms of my bucket list artists, I don't think he's on there. I don't even know who's left that I haven't seen on that list.
Okay, so you've never seen him before.
Never seen him before.
That's going to factor into it.
And again, I think I don't know that it's rare, but I wouldn't say it's common for an artist like Justin Timberlake to come to this arena.
Yeah, we're kind of in between Chicago and Detroit.
Right.
So if you want to go to the bigger arena shows, you're probably going to travel
Right.
for them.
So the fact that he's nearby, and I don't know if he'll ever be here again, is factoring into this. But it's a Tuesday night. let me spin my computer around and show you what I'm looking at as well.
Okay.
Because I think I'm in a position of power here. Okay.
POP.
Look at that seating chart.
Okay, I'm assuming blue is available.
Blue's available.
Blue's available.
This is
Boy,
3 days before show.
that is all. $60. You can get a ticket
That's
for $60.
Yeah, and here's where I'm going to say no, thank you, because that's $60 for upper level, like
All the way at the
second to the
opposite
top
end.
row.
I would say, okay, so you got stage here.
Yep.
These 4 sections here, the uppers,
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
Great for the show.
the upper bowl. You think?
Yeah, but I mean,
Okay.
if you can get one for downstairs for under $100,
So right now,
no brainer. No brainer.
I paid for the November tickets. We were in the 120 each, and that was upper bowl, second to top row. Got refunded. I am refusing to pay half of that because
Okay,
of that seating
so
chart
two-
right now.
So you want
One ticket,
one ticket.
and I'm not paying more than $75 after fees
All right.
for the lower bowl.
Wow. Okay, so you got some demands.
But
So you're
look
going to
at
be
that
you're going to be
seating
at the
chart.
opposite end then, obviously. You're going to be at opposite end, probably towards the back of the section.
He has 2 stages, and I've looked at the set list at how he does. So they have the main stage, which this is a standard arena where a stage,
Stages on one end.
one end, yep,
Yeah.
and then the arena kind of makes a horseshoe around it. This one, he has a second stage set up in the middle of the arena that he does a part of his set from.
All right. Yeah, I was at a show the end of last year where the artist did the similar thing. There was a stage all the way at one end, and then they had a small, I don't know, maybe 20, 30-foot diameter round stage in the middle that they kind of did like an acoustic set type show in.
Today, right now, one of those sections, the upper bowl, row D, I could sit in, buy a ticket for after fees, everything all in, $87.
That's over your limit, though.
It's over my limit. And again, Steve, I think I'm in the position of power here.
You are in the POP.
I am not familiar with how venues and how distributors do this. Because I look at that seating chart and I think, I can't believe you didn't cancel this show. Or do something different. Because
Yeah.
this is 3 days. I would argue Justin Timberlake would be considered a top touring musical act.
I would say he is a low tier 1, high tier 2. At this point,
Okay.
I would say, I mean, obviously 20 years ago,
Yeah.
he was about as high as you could get.
Give me
anything-
some parameters. How should I wait this out? Because I have until Tuesday. Like I could easily, Katie would not mind, I don't think, if I came to her Tuesday afternoon and said, "Hey, I got this one ticket. I think I want to go."
Yeah, yeah.
I can wait up until 90 minutes before showtime and do this.
Because they're not going to drop the price, right?
I don't know. That's why I didn't know if you maybe had a little insight on how this on this whole game works.
I don't think they do.
So
I don't
you're
think
telling
they
me-
drop tickets. I think they would rather, because I'm sure that there's a break even where once they've sold X amount of tickets, there's probably a million different algorithms and scenarios. But once they've sold a certain amount of tickets, they've made their money. The artist made their money. Anything more than that is just bonus. So why are they going to drop the tickets?
And I don't know. Looking at this seating chart with whatever Justin Timberlake, however that fee works that he's in town, I don't know that they're breaking even right now. My rough estimate, just looking at this, obviously unfamiliar, would be 1,500 to 2,000 seats.
Okay, and that
Unfilled?
that arena is, I think, for a concert, it's probably 15.
But that whole back section of the floor is taken up by a stage. So even doing a rough number of 11, I would say that there's probably more than 20% or 20% of this arena not filled.
I think that you gotta remain strong on this. You got to be willing to be in it for the long haul and do the last minute purchase.
And you're thinking resale.
You could do. I think resale would be smart.
You don't think Ticketmaster's going to come down?
I'm even going to help you out here. I'm going to offer you my parking card.
Oh,
so you can park in my basement at the radio station.
Awesome.
for free. That's saving you $20
Yeah.
right there.
No kidding.
You just have to stop here on your way home and
Right,
leave
drop it
my
off in the
cards
mailbox,
so
yeah.
I can then get to
Right.
work get into work the next day.
It would be almost midnight, too. It sounds like he takes the stage at 9. What are we doing
Really?
here? It's a Tuesday night, Steve.
Okay, that's factoring into my decision too then. I think that if you can be out the door
Mm-hmm.
for $80,
Mm-hmm.
sit downstairs,
Mm-hmm.
I think you pull the trigger on it. You're not going to get much cheaper than that.
$80.
Have you considered buying from, like a street ticket?
Now, that's not a bad idea. So you're thinking maybe I should
Just
head out downtown
meander around the area.
around 6?
Around 6 o'clock, there's going to be people out selling tickets. There's a bunch of restaurants and bars. You can knock off another solo adventure.
That's right. Go to the bar.
Have a drink at a bar. What is this, Tuesday night?
This is Tuesday night,
Let me see
Steve.
let me see what I got going on.
Because, so I just looked at one of the generic.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to make it. I apologize.
That's a quick look at the calendar,
That
though.
is that's Culver's night for my daughter's school.
Oh, they have a night of the restaurant? Nice.
They do, yeah.
Like a fundraiser?
Yeah, the teachers are there, like, serving you. So,
I just looked at
I might
one of the main resale websites. And I'm looking at lowest price all in. I don't want that seat, though. That's way at the far back, row M. Not interested. 208. Oh, boy, Steve, look at this one. 87. Row A
No,
in
sorry.
the upper bowl.
But where in comparison to the stage?
Middle of the arena.
So, like, you're on the red
row
line.
A.
You're on the red line if you're at a hockey game.
Yep.
I need to see you be at least blue line or in. I need you to be. I don't want neutral zone.
You don't want middle of the arena for this.
No, I want you to be closer to the stage. Look, I'm looking out for you.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate what you're saying now. Now, the other option is $4,100 to get a tabletop by the DJ stage.
Well, only 4,100. I mean, I know that you've been making some bank on gambling this year.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's too much to add. Would there be anything more pathetic than one single person sitting at a high top table with like 6 empty chairs around it, just sitting there at the DJ booth, like, yeah,
This is awesome.
just looking around at everybody, like, y'all are suckers.
Cheapest floor seat looks like $189.
All right, well, I mean, that's obviously out.
And the cheapest lower bowl that I can see right now looks to be $136. So those are not going to happen.
No.
87 for the upper bowl right now.
Boy, it's so close. Can you make an offer?
Boy, I wish I
Can you
could.
do like 50?
3% off. Yeah, we'll see how you feel about that on Monday. Tuesday. And it is. This person's just like me. Another loser idiot. Only one ticket left at this price. This is a solo seat. But this looks great, though. Look at the view from the stage, Steve, or to the stage.
Okay. So
And look at the little video up in the top left
It's not bad.
that they take.
It's not bad.
I can't wait. What time's Culver's night Tuesday?
It's like 5 to 7.
So 7:05. I'm going to need your help haggling because you and I are about to take some street junkie for all he's worth. I don't mean drugs. I mean tickets.
Right,
For all
yeah.
he's worth on this single Justin Timber. Because you're still not going. It's a Tuesday night. That's
no desire to go.
It's going to end at almost midnight. But I need this is a good cop, bad cop situation
Sure.
where I walk away or you walk away and I go, no, Steve, come back. And then he go, whoa. He's going to call you back.
Yeah, I get up in his face and I'm like, you don't know what I've seen, man.
And then eventually we get him for $40. And you end up going because it's so cheap.
But they'll only sell us 2, so we still have to pay 80.
And I'm trying
you're
to sell it.
you're turning around selling it to make your money. I think you can make a profit off of this.
Well, let's just sit with me.
I got a single one. Where is it? Right next to mine.
So you don't think this is crazy to do this,
I don't know.
to look at going to this alone?
I love a good negotiation, and that, above all else, is what's tempting me.
Can I recruit you Tuesday, maybe even during the day? I'm not saying that evening, to help me monitor. Like maybe if you get a little free time,
absolutely
keep your eye out. Maybe there's a Facebook. Someone is like, hey, I can't do this tonight, or one of the third party sites are like, hey, I don't know if we're gonna get better than this.
You know something? Be able to. I'm gonna send an email. There's a chance we might have tickets to this laying around at the radio station.
And you know
in
what?
which case I'll get like a dozen, and we're gonna be selling them, even if we sell them for $5 a piece.
Yeah, you and I are gonna be out there going, yeah. 20 a ticket, 20 a ticket. And then, you hear the show starting, 10 a ticket. And then it's just you.
Bye. Was that him?
That was it. That was in sync, yeah. Okay, listen. That's all I was looking for, was the Steve Seal of Approval, the SSAP.
Yeah.
Steve Seal. Nope.
SSOP, the SSOP.
That's right. Steve Seal of Approval is the SSOP. To do this alone, I'm going to try to make this happen.
The fact that you're going to it alone is so in the rear view at this point.
Yeah.
That's not what it's about for me anymore. It's about getting the best deal,
now we want a deal
on the best seat.
Because you're in palisman mode.
I'm in wheeling and dealing mode.
Yeah.
I've been in wheeling and dealing mode for the last week and a half.
Do you have, like, let's say,
do we want to, I mean, if we can transition right into that.
No, but this has the potential to get out of hand. Because we're known to ramble. And two,
No.
do we want to give ourselves a personal timer so you can give just this week? I'm not saying forever, but a brief rundown today so we can get out of here because we're about to hit the Robert clock. And then we can give an elongated version because, listen.
We can do a 5-minute.
You're turning into a spreadsheetsman?
Oh, boy.
Well,
we did.
Well, you're trying to.
We did have a long conversation before we started recording about spreadsheets.
Christ, should we release the behind the scenes of this thing? Because I can't tell you how bored people would be.
I mean, I'm adding spreadsheets to our tags right now. Spreadsheets.
And then add loser because we talked about going to a concert alone and wrestling. And so just put loser on it. And we'll let people decide who that's in reference to.
Yeah.
Week by week, that'll change.
Exactly.
Like this week, it's me talking about a wrestling show and going to a concert alone. Next week, it might be you, Steve.
I don't live in a bubble. I know exactly. I'm fully aware.
Or just sad. Maybe sad. Maybe someone's looking for a sad podcast. I don't know if you... I've got my fill on true crime this week. I'd like to listen to something sad.
So make myself feel better.
So in the past week, now I've seen these spreadsheets. So in the past week, I would like you to give a brief rundown of where you are at. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how you want to start. Do you want to start by telling everybody where you're at plus minus wise? Or do you want to give any travails of stories of your efforts over the last week?
I can kind of combine it into one. In case you missed last week, my wife and I bought a liquidation pallet from a local pallet liquidator place.
Finally pulled the trigger.
Pulled the trigger, paid $715.50 after all the taxes and fees and everything.
I think the honey hole might be on its last legs.
You think so? You think it's about to dry up?
Out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. And I apologize for interrupting.
That's all right.
It was a reel on one of the social media sites. Mm-hmm. And it was a lady who was talking about this place.
Really?
Going in there, she called them because she wanted a mail pallet.
So the exact place I went to. Yep. Oh boy, I don't like the sound of this.
And she said mail pallets are hard to come by, so I spoke with them. They were going to hold one for me, so I wanted a mail pallet. I got a mail pallet. She just showed how it worked, but said the location, said the name, and showed the forklift bringing the pallet to her car. Mm-hmm. She had a car, so she had to unload the pallet by hand. But it's mail, but still it's a pallet. But anyway, just maybe keep your ear open. Okay. For another backwoods town who's selling garbage.
Dude, I got like 3 of them. Come on.
So last week, you and Annette ripped the Band-Aid off.
Picked up the pallet. We've been talking about it since last year, and we finally decided, what the heck. We had a couple of bucks floating around that we had made a bunch of sales on Marketplace this year. Because this was the year that I finally decided, I'm going to track this. I want to find out exactly how much I make off a Marketplace. And we are in 100% purge mode.
So you can give to Big Dutch Ron to report his income, right?
BDR, yeah, exactly. So we pulled the trigger, again, $715.50. I borrowed my buddy's truck. We drove down, picked the thing up. They put it right in the back, brought it home, unloaded it. And then about a week ago, started the long process, which actually wasn't that bad, of taking pictures of everything, looking it up to see what it would go for, posting it on Marketplace.
That wasn't bad?
It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. We had we kind of fell into a quick groove with it. Annette was taking pictures, sending them to me. I was immediately posting them while having a window up saying like, oh, what's this go for? What's this go for? So if I found something online for $50, I'm selling it for 30. Just trying to make money back as quick as possible.
Yeah, you are as we talked to last week, and again, if you want to hear the in-depth recap of all of that, Steve is more concerned about in the door, out the door, and I would argue Annette. I wouldn't say concerned, but Annette would say she would be more willing to hold for a few increased profits.
I don't think so.
She come around?
Yeah, she's
turn and burn.
She's pretty much like, let's just price it so it sells.
When you think of Annette, do you think turn and burn?
So I have 3 different spreadsheets here. Obviously, I got my pallets, I got my non-pallets, and I got my truck stuff. So if you'd like to know, so far for truck stuff this year, I'm going to be completely transparent on all of this. Truck stuff this year, I have a net earnings of $265. Okay. Non-pallet materials, non-pallet merchandise. So it's,
stuff around the house.
The old crib or whatever, pots and pans we don't use anymore. Since the new year, I'm up $303. So that is $568 net profit on those 2 spreadsheets.
Non-pallet related,
non-pallet.
And that does not consider the overall cost, like you said, of the pallet. The pallet's separate.
Now I jump to the pallet spreadsheet, which I believe there's about 120 different items.
Boy, by the way, $568 can buy a lot of stuff for Sackfest.
Again, not the title. Not the title.
TBD, we're workshopping.
So for pallets, again, the pallet costs $715.50. I have sold 23 items for a total of $503, meaning I am $212.50 in the hole on the pallet purchase 1 week in. But again, I still have 80% of the merchandise available. Now, I will tell you that most of the stuff that I've sold so far is the stuff that I would assumed would go first. Right. They're the
big ticketers.
The big ticketers. We've made an average of $21.87 per item sold. Obviously. I've sold stuff for, I believe on the high end, $70. On the low end, $5.
Okay, so
that was a little wireless phone charger.
Perfect. What now? Again, there's a video of us going through this stuff. Please check it out. It's at Steve and Kyle, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on our YouTube at Steve and Kyle as well. But it's all linked on our social media. We did like a 8-minute walkthrough of a lot of these things, and I don't think I'm speaking out of turn when I tell you 1 week ago today, you were less optimistic and less. I don't know the other word. Okay, you were more nervous a week ago about the potential. Not financial ruin, but the potential for not making a profit on this last week.
Yeah.
Today, I got to tell you, sitting here across from you, listening to you.
I'm a new man.
Talk about this. It seems like you're a bit more buoyant.
Yeah, I know that obviously I've sold the stuff that's more desirable. So a lot of the stuff is probably going to sit around here for a while.
So we're into the real crap.
But I feel a lot better knowing that, okay, if it all ended today, I lost $200.
You just mean the pallet.
The pallet
adventure.
If not one more message came in, I've lost $200.
Yep.
Which sucks, but it's not $700.
But you've got all those fun things now.
I do. I still got that big 5 foot by 8 foot.
That was my next question.
Troll hair, teal blue carpet.
Now, here's what
you in the market?
I got to tell you, let me go see if I am moving into a girl's dorm room.
Plus, we have our winter collection, which I haven't even listed yet. That's not going up until November.
Okay. I'm excited to do this next week more than today because this is good. I think this has the potential to be a real roller coaster. Okay. So next week,
a lot of ups and downs. Again, I've sold 23 items. By the time we record next week, I'd be disappointed if we haven't sold 40 items.
What can I ask you if we can do something next week on this podcast?
Anything you want.
Next week.
I am 100% transparent with all of these numbers. Partly because I want it as motivation to sell more stuff.
Going, yeah.
But I know a lot of people. I had a ton of questions about this stuff before we finally tried to do it. So I think that I don't know if this. Do I have to put pallet in the tags?
At this point, it wouldn't hurt.
I think that a lot of people have wondered about stuff like this.
Yeah.
And if this can help somebody out, we might do pallet cast. We might have we might do live video streams where we say, okay, we got this. What do you think? How much? $5? Sold. Pay for it now and it's yours.
That's what I want to
ask.
ask.
Got to come pick it up.
So next week, can you do me a favor? And before we record, what I would love is for you to pick 2 items. And I'll leave that up to you. My only ask is at least one of the items is one that you have listed since day one and have not sold.
Okay.
And I'd like to pitch that on this podcast.
Okay.
And then I'll leave the other item up to you, whether it's one you haven't listed yet, one you just listed, maybe it's a hot ticket, whatever you choose. And I could shoot a video while you come to the Shark Tank and and try to sell these items to our listeners, and maybe we can make a sale.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll pick out what I think is the deal of the century that everyone else is just blind to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can absolutely do that.
Perfect.
I'm feeling confident. As you noted, you looked at my spreadsheet. You saw, I noticed you have a column for a pallet number. So in this case, all of the items that I've sold are labeled pallet 1. Pallet 1 would indicate that there might be a pallet 2. I think as soon as this box right here turns from red to green.
Yeah. And I'm guessing you have a formula to make that turn green when it turns.
I don't actually. I know. I feel like such an idiot.
So you have to do it manually?
I know.
How exciting! How not exciting is that?
Once I add the mission control sheet to my spreadsheet, this is game over.
You've got to get conditional formatting in there, Steve. And I know to everybody else listening, they're going, no, duh, Steve. Or no, duck. I can't believe Steve doesn't know that. You're going to need to go to the conditional formatting. And you're going to want to set that for the whole spreadsheet.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
We'll talk about it off air. I'm excited.
I'm so excited.
I'm more, if I were to say, at this point, if I were to make a chart, right? And the y-axis was smile emojis.
Yeah.
Last week, week 1, the smile emoji would have been a frown. This week, week 2, we're going to the top of that roller coaster.
Oh, we're all the way at the top?
I wouldn't say smile like with, rosy cheek smile.
But like...
No, yeah, slight upturn.
Yeah.
Okay? So I can't wait to see where we're at next week. Because you've gone head first. You've been posting, you've been listing, you've been photographing, you've been scheduling pickups, you've been charging for drop-offs, you've been doing all this stuff.
Man, I charged $15 for a drop-off earlier in the week. I didn't think for a minute that this person...
would accept that?
No.
Yeah, because they're dumb.
Apparently, everybody wants a 10-year-old MacBook charger.
Must be hard to find.
That wasn't even a pallet item. That was on
just off of here?
Yeah, that was on the old spreadsheet. Or the old list.
So I'm curious if next week the whims and the flows of pallet sales catch up to you one way or the other, and maybe that thing's turned green.
I have a goal. I have a goal that the next time we record, for it to be green, us to be in pay dirt.
I think you're doing it wrong. If you're giving yourself a deadline to turn a profit.
Well, it's not a deadline. It's a goal.
Sure.
There's a difference. Deadline means I need to have it done by this date.
So we'll get a couple sounders on here because next week I'm going to ask you, did you meet your goal? And I just want either womp, 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 or the way too long people cheering saying that you got there.
Yeah.
Do we still have slide whistle up down?
From
when I told my heart boo boo story?
I don't think we had this.
That was pre-mixer
set up yet. Yeah, I'll find it. Don't you worry.
I think that's all we need. Slide whistle up,
yeah.
Slide whistle down, and we can see how Steve's emoji roller coaster for pallet sales goes next week.
That's a big reason to tune in, right? Is that the A-bit? Did we just tease the A-bit?
I mean, once we find out if I went to a concert alone and how much I paid.
A lot to update you guys on next week. Before you leave, if you'd like to go through the room and see if there's... Because, feel like I was pretty generous last week by giving you transformations.
Was it transformations or a deformer?
No, it was transformations, but then at the bottom it said reformation.
Very nice. One on the record, offered to pay, still offering to pay.
No, that's a
very generous gift to my son.
That's a little tidbit so you go and tell all your friends.
It's a little off the top. But first hit's free.
I'm going to mark that as paid.
Okay. Hey, remarkably generous of you.
I'm going to mark that you paid $212.50 for it.
51 cents.
Yeah.
So you can turn that puppy green.
In the green.
Today. Before we get out of here, there is one piece of new merch, hopefully a second piece of new merch up this week at StephenKyle.com/merch. Stephen Kyle's Nature Camp. Finally posted with, yes, there's some squirrels, some mice, some birds.
Looking through binoculars.
All animals that have died at the hands of Kyle's home.
All right. Again, at Stephen Kyle, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And that is it. We'll talk to you next week.
See you.